Hello. I've just re-watched my very first video update made back in March, and in many ways this feels like a similar moment. Suddenly, we're again in a more serious situation than expected. Another indefinite lockdown and the suspension of church services, though this time through choice, not by law. And I've explained the reasons for that decision in the letter you should have received last night. And I think the message that I want to bring now is the same as back then. Be kind to yourself and one another. I explained the theology for that in my first YouTube sermon, still available on our St Thomas's Church Trowbridge channel. Being kind to ourselves may involve hitting the Christmas chocolate hard, as it has in this household. But I hope it will also mean keeping ourselves in good spiritual, emotional and physical health. Yesterday's letter reminds us of some of the ways we're continuing to worship and have fellowship remotely. There's a lot more happening now than there was back then, so do take time to read that letter. That brings me to the dreaded Z word, which still strikes fear into some of our hearts. Zoom may not be everyone's cup of tea, but it has proved an invaluable means of getting and keeping in touch. I've just attended a Baraka meeting with 14 others, most of whom had never even heard of Zoom, let alone used it 9 months ago. And I freely admit I probably wouldn't, had it not been for the patience of Beth, who took me through how to use it and has helped many others and shown us it really isn't that hard. So if you're still struggling with Zoom, there's no shame in that. The good news is we can help, so please do get in touch and ask. Being kind to one another is all about keeping in touch, particularly with those who are on their own, shielding or unwell. Ruth has been a great champion of this, and there's a huge amount of informal networking and care going on. But it's still really difficult to know if some people are getting left out, and if so, who. So please be sensitive to people who might feel isolated and give them a ring. And please be brave enough to contact us and say, hey, I'm feeling left out, so we can try and do something about it. Today is the feast of Epiphany, the manifestation of Christ to the nations, represented by the Magi or wise men. They took a long and arduous journey to find Jesus, and when they did, were overjoyed and gave him gifts. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what I can I give him, give my heart.